Hi, it's Scott Granville, author and stand-up comedian, and I'm here with Jeremy and Josh on The Other Side live on 91X.
The Other Side Media Group and 91X now present The Other Side Radio Show, a program about people who make a difference from all walks of life in Quinte and beyond. And now here are your hosts, Jeremy and Joshua Davis.
Yes, and welcome again to The Other Side Live. I'm Jeremy T. Davis, and joining me behind the mic today, as you just heard, we have our good friend and media personality and all-around good guy, Scott Granville, back on the show. It's great to have you for this Canada Day long weekend. We'll say unofficial long weekend anyway, the way it falls this year. How have you been?
Jeremy, I have been fantastic. I really appreciate you and Josh having me on this amazing show. Canada Day weekend, long weekend, eh? Amazing that this amazing country that we live in is celebrating all these years, and it's great. Belleville's doing some great things locally. I know I'm going to be in Toronto, and you guys are going to be celebrating in Belleville, which is kind of cool. But yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure getting to know you after this past year, and I'm glad to be on the show again. I was excited to be on the first time. I was a little nervous getting grilled by you two guys and having a great time. No, it was awesome meeting you, and yeah, lots to talk about, right? Because we got lots of things in common, don't we?
Well, absolutely, and Joshua would say that too. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today like he anticipated, but he will be on another installment with you. There's so much to talk about. We could do a series all on our own with you and the Davis and Granville report. Anyway, yes, you alluded to lots of new adventures, opportunities since the last time you joined us around the table. And one of those new ventures, even though you've been writing comedy for many years, and you write it for television and all kinds of things, scripts and such, but you have now officially joined the world of Yuck Yucks Comedy. Yes, that's right, Yuck Yucks Comedy. And yeah, well, you're an amazing stand-up guy. So it sounds to me like it would be a perfect fit. Can you tell us about that, your first experience, and what made you decide to make the transition from, the printed page of comedy? You wrote many different books of all different topics and different descriptions, some of which we'll get into today and other episodes. But tell us about going from the printed page of your comedy book to the Yuck Yucks stand-up comedy stage, that legendary stage.
Well, thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it was a transition that I made recently for the first time. I'm 62 years old, and I spent the last 40 years, I guess, writing comedy as well as and mixing comedy with sports. So a lot of the sports shows that I actually produced for Rogers Sportsnet and Fox Sports World actually had comedy in it. So I started writing specifically for comedy about 20 years ago, and it was just, I just kept writing jokes. I would write a joke, something would pop in my head, and I'd write it down. And I got so many of them that I decided I was going to publish the book. And so I published a book called The Big Book of Tid, because they're twisted tidbits. So we call them tids. They're little jokes. They're kind of like dad jokes. They're very bad. I hope they're really bad. That's the whole point. To make people groan. They're for grown-ups.
Yeah.
So they make people groan. And then I just decided to, instead of it just having it, like you say, on a page, a printed page, why not get up there and share some of my stories? Because I come up with really funny ideas. Some of them work and some of them don't. But if I tell you the story about one that does work and one that doesn't, you'll laugh.
And as Josh would say, you know, in this ever-changing world, in this world filled with all kinds of complexities at life, don't get me wrong, life can be wonderful, but life can be hard. Sometimes we all go through different things at different stages of our life, and it may sound so cliche, but the old cliche is, and we really believe this to be true, that laughter is truly the best medicine. And you know, if you can learn to laugh at life's ups and downs, the idiosyncrasies, and that it has been medically proven that you will reduce your stress, health problems, and potentially live longer. And we'll put a disclaimer on this. You know, consult your doctor, but everybody has heard these studies in medical journals. So would you like to comment on that? And then we'll go from there. Scott, Granville.
Absolutely. No, I think you're right. It is the best medicine. There have been many studies that prove that, and plus everyday life proves that, I believe. You know, we gather around family and friends during holidays, for example, right? Yeah. There's always somebody there that has a joke to tell, and it always lightens the load. It always makes people feel better. So I always felt that I took after my uncle, who did the same thing, who made jokes a lot, who made people laugh. I had to look after my mom when she was sick. I felt that that was the best way that I could do to help her, because I couldn't help her through her pain. So I would make her laugh, and it helped. It helped both of us a lot. So that's something that I've always believed in. And now I'm, like I said, almost everything that I've done has a hint. Even my serious writing has a hint of humor in it in order to lighten the load, because I think that's very important.
Well, absolutely. And you know, Scott, I'm going to share something very serious, and then we'll move on. Josh and I, ever since we've founded not only the Other Side Media Group, but this very radio show and any of our broadcast ventures that we've done with the Other Side, whether it was the TV or not. It's about empowerment, but it's also about the truth and making a difference. And you know, when you talked about when your mom was sick, you know, we can relate, because the latest example was through my dad's courageous battle for so long with his cancer, because he might have only been diagnosed in something like 2021, but we're pretty certain. That's the sad part of it. And no fault by dad or the family, but we're pretty certain that he had it before, and unfortunately it was just missed. And that's not a slap to the medical community, but it's just the reality. And that's unfortunate it was missed. He was still, in our books and in so many people's books, such a young man, and if it had been caught, you know, but so we couldn't change that. We couldn't change that diagnosis. We couldn't change the pain. But so we tried to do the same thing, or Josh did. But also Dad himself, through it all, most of the time, he was trying to make us laugh, or he was trying to make others laugh, or you know, find something funny with himself just to get through. Something we'll always admire, remember, and cherish. So, any further comment?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you always have those great memories that, like I had mentioned, the family thing, right? So it's like we both have had some ups and downs with our family. So, anyone listening has the same. That's the whole issue, is that we all have issues that we have to get through. And there are tons of examples that I have, and you just given examples of how your dad helped by using a little bit of humor when he was going through the tough things that he was going through. So, yeah, it's an emotional thing, but it's sometimes one of the most, to get through a hard time, it's sometimes a pleasant thing to listen to somebody's laughter and hearing it.
Now, Scott, before we move on to so many other wonderful things that you've been up to since your last visit on the other side live, now I want to say, what do you think? You alluded to a bit of this at the top of the program, but what do you think the best part of being Canadian is? I know it sounds cliche, but we're celebrating Canada even more so in this era, not just Canada Day, but with the movement of Canada Strong, Buy Canada, and all those things based upon the wins south of the border. Not to get too political, but that's the reality. In part, that is what shaped the most recent federal election campaign, which saw Prime Minister Carney, return to that role after just taking over for a relatively short time from PM Justin Trudeau, former PM Justin Trudeau. So what is the thing that makes you most proud to be Canadian, and why?
Well, it's a great question, and thanks, and I am a very proud Canadian. The one thing that I'm very proud of that we've seen just in the last several months, based on what you've said about what's happened down south of the border, we immediately, as a nation, came together. We immediately saw the issue, and we came together. Unlike our neighbors down south, who are divided, who do not like each other. In fact, I always called them the United Hates of America, because they seem to hate each other. Whereas when we had an issue, when there was, our backs were up against the wall, technically, what did we do? We united. We did what we were supposed to do. The people from across the nation now, I know that not every single part of the nation is united, but we're doing our best. And I think that Mike Myers, the comedian, I think said it best when he said that we're not a perfect nation, but we do better than any other nation trying to get it right. If we do something wrong, which we admit we do wrong, we all do, that we try to do it and try to get something right. And that's what makes us a great Canadians. And I'm proud to be part of this great country.
Well, yes, I wouldn't have it any other way, and I don't think my family would either. My mom has, served in Canadian healthcare for years as a nurse and made a difference. My sister has followed in the footsteps. So we're all trying to make a difference in our own way. And it's like you said, and we have had the privilege, just like you have in your life and in our time, to do a lot of traveling. And when we were younger, we always traveled to the U.S. The U.S. has been, great neighbors and allies. It's just that the current political climate seems to have shifted. Now there's reason for optimism, and we've always been optimists, and so we're hoping that, between President Trump, who is currently in office in his second non-consecutive term, and our new PM, Mark Carney, and the other leaders can find consensus. And that's what they were talking about at the G7 and all those things. So, but only time will tell. I mean, we have family down there. They actually were born here in Canada, but then their family, for business reasons, years ago, moved. My uncle moved to the U.S. and started his business. So we've had conversations, and they don't see why it had to change, because there's a lot of great people and a lot of people that stand up for us. One of the things before we move on, you, in addition to that, as part of the Positive Canada campaign and the movement, you came up with some of your own merchandise.
Yes.
and shirts. And again, it's got some of that great humor. Maybe you can just tell us about that. Tell us some of the shows you've been at where that's available, or where it's available, people can see it and maybe want to support some of that. It's great artwork, it's great product, and here's your chance. And it's Canada proud, and it's Scott Granville's take on being Canadian.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. Yes, as soon as this whole pro-Canada elbows up kind of attitude started, based on the political climate of the day, I came up with an idea. I wanted to have a catchphrase, so I came up with a couple catchphrases. One of them was "No thanks, Yanks," and the other one was a play on what Donald Trump had said about grabbing a woman. So I said, "Don't grab us by the country," because he wanted to grab our country. So I decided to put together jerseys, hats, and hoodies. It's called a Woody hoodie.
How well received is
It's
that?
going quite well. We have a Shopify store. If you just
buy it online.
you can buy it online. It's called No Thanks Yanks. And yeah, there's baseball
website
caps.
if you want.
The website is bookoftid.com, and that's selling my comedy book as well as all the merch as well. So it's on Shopify as well. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun promoting Pro Canada. That's what it is. It's all about talking great things about our country.
Well, that is just awesome. And I know Josh and I and Mom and our family would love to get some of that merch. So get it today. It makes a great Canada gift, or birthdays or anything. So, and you're not paying me to say that. That's just a free plug because you're a great Canadian. So if we can shift gears here for a few moments. We've only got a little time left, unfortunately. I just want to say, we talked about this briefly on the last installment you were with us, and you were one of the amazing special guests at a National Access Ability Week event that was hosted at the Belleville Public Library, and it was from one of your books, because you're all about empowerment of the soul and overcoming obstacles, if I may coin it that way. Joshua and I know this to be true. Can you tell us how that event was received? Remind people about the book, and also, in your opinion, we're currently in 2025, and so can you tell me, not to be too controversial, but can you tell me what your feeling is about how good accessibility is, not just for people in wheelchairs, but including people in wheelchairs, whether it's built environment, attitudes, or anything like that. Because we love this country, we love Belleville, but we still see the need for improvement. And what's your take on that? And we'll go from there, my friend.
Well, thanks. I think there is a great need for improvement constantly, and that's why guys like you and Josh are so valuable. The Accessibility Committee in Belleville does a great job. Barb Enright Miller does a great job. Nancy does a great job. I know everyone does a lot of great work. Nicole does a great job as well. And I had the privilege of being able to talk about my book called Iron Knee, Iron Will, which is going to be available on Amazon soon. And basically, it was a book that I wrote to overcome stress and trauma after surgery. I have been, because of my car accident, I've had several surgeries. I've had close to 12 now. So I've had to just do a lot of rehab. Because I keep in shape, I just thought that it might be a great way of communicating ideas in a fun way for people that have issues with mobility. So that's basically what it was. Simple exercises for people to use that have issues with mobility.
Can they order that online? Can they order any of the products online that you have right now, Scott?
Yes, all my books are available on Amazon. Scott J. Granville. You can just check it there. I have several books out now. One that we talked about previously on our first installment, which was Direct Kicks to the World Cup, which is, I guess it's the only real book I have. When I say real book, it's a full 400-page memoir about the soccer series that I did. But I also have this Iron Knee, Iron Will. It's not available right now, but will be available very soon. But my comedy book is available, The Big Book of Tid, on Amazon, and all my books are available on Amazon.
Now, one of the things that Josh had mentioned on the first installment, and he jokingly said, well, he actually said, and they did call you this, but we talked and we said you were the Jerry Seinfeld of sports. But Josh has said, and we talked off air before the interview, he's wanted to do a sitcom about his life and show everyday family man that has a family and kids, and it might be someone in a wheelchair, but to show how you could overcome obstacles. And in our discussions off air, he was saying sort of patterned after sort of like a classic, like everybody loves Raymond, but oftentimes you don't see a lead character in a wheelchair. So and so we've talked about that. We also have our own reality series on socials right now, the Facebook Live series and other socials, because it's about empowerment. But do you want to comment on that, about the concept of showing someone overcoming any obstacles in a starring role in a broadcast series or sitcom, and we'll go from there?
I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's. I mean, when Josh was mentioning it last time, I said, "I'll direct it. Let me direct it." That would be fantastic. I think that you're right. I mean, there's not enough content out there, especially on a national broadcast. Could you imagine if we put together something? I know people at CBC. I know the executive producer of the news. At least we could, if we put together a sizzle reel with you guys. Yeah. I mean, Josh is friggin' hilarious, right? So it wouldn't take.
He could do the comedy. I'll do the straight bits.
Yeah, well, you're definitely going to be a straight guy. But no, that's That's a fantastic idea. I can't wait to develop that. Let's start talking about putting a sizzle reel together.
That's cool. And the best is yet to come, my friend. Now, and you just briefly mentioned, I know we've got to go very shortly. Here at the venue, we're closing down the venue here tonight on the other side live. You were mentioning that about the Accessibility Committee. Now, I've been a part of city committees and municipal government with committees of council for years, and not just limited to the Accessibility Committee. And it's not to be a politician, but it's to enact and influence positive change on the elected side. I want your opinion. Do you think there will come a day when more individuals, such as myself, will be represented at the table of the seat of government, and to show again that we can all contribute, we all make a difference. I've been on everything from the Green Task Force to I've done strategic planning, and the best is yet to come. And I've been involved with municipal and federal. But what's your take on that, on the political angle of things? If you don't mind me asking you about that, Scott.
Not at all. I think it's high time that we have somebody like yourself and Josh representing, because we need people in office that actually talk to the people. You talk to the people, right? I mean,
people first.
Absolutely. That's the whole point of it, right? And that's why people will understand and respect your message. And we need more people like yourself. I mean, you are an you're a dog. You just go at it. You just go. Yeah, no, you just never stop. And I really respect that.
I don't sleep.
Yeah, well, what sleep? What's that all about? But no, I really respect what you're doing. And like I said, you have my vote and you have my 100% backing. So yeah, let's. While you do the political thing, and I'll just make fun of the political thing. I'll write the script for the first sitcom.
Okay, I'm looking forward to all those future projects. We'd love to get you involved with some future events with the Other Side Media Group. To think you started in radio right on our prestigious 91X. 91X still rules today. It's going through transformation, but we're pumping out good Canadian programming. A big shout out to all the staff up there, and we're proud to be part of that family as one of our nonprofit broadcast carriers that we do. So thank you very much, and tune in to The Other Side live every Sunday right here on 91X, and also tune in to our Facebook Live reality series, and look out for Scott Granville. Tell us how they can contact you, and we'll go from there. And we'll have you back real soon, Scott. It's been a blast, as always.
Absolutely has been a blast. Really appreciate the time talking, and I can't wait to get to the next installment. I would love to be on for the third time. That would be a record, wouldn't it? And I'm also looking forward to helping write that sizzle reel with you and Josh. So yes, you can get me at Direct Kicks Soccer TV. You can see me on Instagram there, and I'm on Facebook as well, Scott Granville. You can find me. Scott J. Granville is the name you'd go under to find me on Amazon. All my books are there, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Scott. Well, Canada rocks, and so does Scott Granville. Again, we are on location at Canada's favorite coffee shop, Tim Hortons, for 91X and The Other Side Live. Happy Canada Day, long weekend, and we will see you next week. I'm Jeremy T. Davis, along with Scott Granville, and we are out of here, and the check's in the mail.
The Other Side Radio Show is a production of the Other Side Media Group in association with 91X. You can connect on Facebook at the Other Side Media Group, Instagram at Jeremy Tyler Davis, or on YouTube at Jeremy T. Davis, Belleville, Ontario for on-demand episodes and more. Tune in next week for another episode of the Other Side Radio Show.